7 Hygiene Habits of Ancient India. 1. Indians initially didn't regard their dead as polluting. In Uttar Pradesh, people dug graves below their homes. They placed offerings within the graves. Bodies were often buried close to cooking hearths. They would provide warmth to the departed. However, there was a fear of the dead rising, so their legs were often chopped off below the ankle. The custom continued until 700 BC. 2. Death was later seen as a source of impurity. Ancient Sanskrit included law books and digests. They described how to conduct various situations. Death made the family of the deceased impure. It took days for a person to get cleaned. The number of days depended on many circumstances. It depended upon whether the deceased was male or female. The caste of the deceased was also important. Brahmins remained impure for 10 days. It was 12 days for Kshatriyas and 15 days for Vaishyas. For Shudras it was a month. The lower your caste was, the longer it took. It took time to remove a corpse from a village. The whole village was in a state of impurity. They couldn't hold Vedic studies or ritual sacrifices. 3. There were people you couldn't touch. The Chandalas, or untouchables, dealt with corpses. They were expected to live outside the village. Their touch and sight were considered polluting. However, items or bodies befouled by them could be purified. It was done by washing them with water and clay. Cow dung was also used for cleaning. It was thought to have purificatory powers. 4. Indians used soil as an alternative to soap. The soil they used depended on their caste. Kshatriya would take red soil. Vaishya and Shudra would take black soil. The soil couldn't be taken from the bank of the river. Sometimes ashes were used instead. 5. Some substances were considered horribly polluting. This included excrement, urine, blood, and marrow. Other substances were seen as less bad. Earwax, nails, phlegm, and sweat were polluting, but this pollution could be easily washed off. A daily bath was stipulated as universally necessary. 2 or 3 baths a day were recommended for hermits. Some things were never impure. They included articles exposed for sale in a market. Alms collected on the road were also considered clean. The meat of animals seized or killed was never impure. It may even be killed by dogs, untouchables, or raptors. 6. There were no toilet amenities in Indian homes. People went far from human habitation to relieve themselves. All bowel activity was carried out on the ground. It had to be covered with twigs, leaves, or grass. Indians would clean themselves with grass or wood. After that they cleaned up with water and lumps of soil. 7. Indians washed their hands and legs regularly. The process was meticulously outlined. The left hand was used to clean after using the toilet. It had to be washed 10 times. Both hands were then washed 7 times. After peeing they washed both palms twice. They also washed both legs once. The spiritually elevated were expected to be cleaner. If they performed religious vows, they repeated the process. One who followed the vanaprastha washed 3 times. An ascetic would wash 4 times.